Deshaan Lore, Part 3. Shad Astula Academy Handbook. Welcome to Shad Astula, the Academy of Magic. This is where the most talented mages of the Ebonheart Pact come to learn, share a common origin, and become leaders in the magical community. Your journey begins here. For many, the journey to master magic is fraught with frustration and difficulty. The training provided here can lead to a life of service and rewarding work, thanks to the availability of the best teachers and teaching methods. The fact of the matter is, while everyone invited to the Academy is selected for their potential for greatness, not all of you will measure up to the task before you. For those unfortunate enough to fail, Shad Astula serves as a safety net, a place to refine one's meager skills without causing harm to oneself or others. But you will not fail. You are not one of the unfortunates. You will rise above. You will take your place as a leader in the Ebonheart Pact. You have already realized that you are different from others who can wield the gift of magicka. Now prepare to be introduced to the world of power. For you, Shad Astula serves as a place where you can spread your wings. With the help of our staff of Master Mages, you will not only learn to fly, you will soar. As one of the chosen of the Academy, the usual restrictions and rules that govern the learning of magic do not apply to you. Those rules exist to ensure the safety of mages who may pose a danger to themselves or to others. We anticipate that the Academy's select students will excel, and we believe you're capable of learning your limits quickly. A few guidelines do apply, however. Do not summon creatures from Oblivion planes except within designated summoning circles. Magical experimentation on other Academy students is forbidden. Magical experimentation on non-Academy members is discouraged, but use your best judgment. Magical experimentation on staff is encouraged. Keep them on their guard, and they'll do the same for you. Designation of assistants as minions is strictly prohibited, and cultist or kabbalist behaviors or organizations will be dealt with swiftly and harshly. Save your megalomania for after graduation. Students who have not passed the Emotional Control and Mental Stability exam, ECMSE, are forbidden from sharing a room. Magical dueling is strictly prohibited, except under a staff battle mage's supervision. You will soon receive an appointment with the headmaster, who will have more to say about Shad Astula and your status as a member of the Academy. In the meantime, feel free to explore the campus and introduce yourself to your fellow students. Some will become your peers, others your underlings, and a very select few your betters. Learn them well. Welcome to Shad Astula. Spread your wings and soar. We expect much of you. Do not disappoint us. The Judgement of Saint Veloth by Magistrix Vox. A number of powerful healing relics are associated with Saint Veloth the Pilgrim. Of these, perhaps the most famous and well-remembered artifacts remains the Judgement of Saint Veloth. This mighty Daedric warhammer stands as a shining symbol of everything Veloth embodies as patron saint of outcasts and seekers of spiritual knowledge. Stored with other holy artifacts in the protected vaults of the Tribunal Temple, the Judgement of Saint Veloth served the prophet and mystic well in life, but has gained legendary power since his ascension to sainthood. The god-kings of Morrowind watch over the relics, keeping them ready for the day when their powers would be needed in defense of the realm. Saint Veloth personifies daring, and those who follow in the lessons of his life and the teaching learn boldness and cultivate an adventurous outlook. He defined the difference between good and evil Daedra, and even negotiated with the original arrangements with the good Daedric princes. This ability to distinguish good from the bad was a hallmark of the living saint, as was his penchant for healing and healing items. Both of these aspects combined into his personal symbol of power, the warhammer known as Judgement. Veloth's judgment rang with authority throughout the land, using its enchantments to cleanse corruption from the souls that it struck down. It was a weapon, of that there can be no doubt. but Veloth was able to wield it with the same precision that a surgeon uses to wield a scalpel, removing the corruption from a soul and leaving the remainder alive and healthy. The Warhammer stored the corruption for a time, turning it into energy that could be used by the wielder to enhance the power of the weapon. Of course, in the wrong hands, such a powerful artifact could accompany much more harm than good. For this reason, among many, the Tribunal keeps the Judgement and other artifacts locked away. It has been suggested that instead of being used as an instrument of healing, the Judgement could be used to siphon a creature's living soul, thus making the wielder infinitely more powerful. This conjecture has never been put into practice, and if the Tribunal has its way, it never will. The Living Gods, by Dorilus the Theologian. No other religion in all of Nirn can claim what the Dark Elves know as an absolute truth. Their gods rule over them and walk among them, as real and as present as any other resident of Morrowind. From their seat of power in the Mournhold's Tribunal Temple, the living gods of the Tribunal guard and counsel their people. When necessary, they punish sin and error, but they also share their bounty with the greatest and least among us, each according to their needs. But who are the living gods? They are powerful dark elves who achieve divine status through superhuman discipline and virtue, and supernatural wisdom and insight. As the three god kings of Morrowind, they form the divine leadership of the Dunmer nation. The three, Lord, Mother, and Wizard, are described below. Vivek, the warrior poet god and master of Morrowind, is perhaps the most popular of the three. He also tends to be the most public, and the people love him. His visage appears both beautiful and bloody at the same time, and he has made violence into an art form. Vivek, the warrior poet, has darker aspects associated with primitive, ruthless impulses, such as lust and murder. Almalexia, known as the Mother Morrowind, is the patron of healers and teachers. She is the healing mother, the source of compassion and sympathy, the protector of the poor and the weak. Almalexia embodies the best of the Dunmeri culture and purpose. She exemplifies mercy, and her wisdom guards the Dark Elves in their daily affairs. Sothasil, god of the world mechanism, is the least known and most hidden of the Tribunal gods. Sometimes referred to as the Mystery of Morrowind, he is a magus and patron of artificers and wizards. Perhaps the mightiest wizard in the land, and certainly the wisest, he is considered to be the light of knowledge and the inspiration behind all craft and sorcery. Together, the living gods are the pillars of the Tribunal Temple. They represent the power and discipline of the Dunmeri people, and rule with a combination of compassion and strict adherence to law and protocol. War of Two Houses, by Drelissa Lalu, House Historian. War among the great houses of Morrowind isn't unique, and more often than not some kind of conflict between two or more houses is underway somewhere across the land. Rarely do these conflicts escalate from subterfuge and intrigue to an all-out war, but open hostilities aren't unheard of in the history of Morrowind. Let me tell you about one of these wars. In Second Era 559, House Lalu and House Drez advanced beyond the usual tensions and posturing, and fielded squadrons of combatants in the south of Narcissus, on the border of Blackmarsh. It wasn't the first time these two economic rivals had challenged each other, and it wouldn't be the last, but the actual war was memorable in both scope and in the number of casualties that piled up over the course of the battles. House Lalu was determined to set up a trading post in the disputed territory. House Drez was just as determined not to let that happen. Halfway through the construction of the outpost, the House Lalu workers suddenly found themselves surrounded by dressed mercenaries. The small squad of Lalu guards assigned to protect the workers, led by Perilla Fallon, quickly established defenses and prepared to defend the outpost. The Drez mercenaries, who outnumbered the Lalu guards 5-1, assumed they would make short work of the defenders and have the post burned to the ground before the midday meal. But that is not the way it happened. Perilla and her guards repelled the first assault with relative ease. She was determined to hold the line no matter the cost until reinforcements arrived. To facilitate the appearance of aid, Perilla sent one of the wizards they brought with them to work on opening a portal to Narcissus. If the guards could hold back the onslaught of the dressed mercenaries long enough, an open portal could provide a path for Hlalu battle merchants to pour out of and turn the tide of the battle. They needed only a little time. As the wizard performed the portal ritual, Perilla and the defenders met each house-dress attack with skill and ferocity. The mercenaries rushed in, sending a wave of attackers at the post's barricade. Each wave was turned away, but not without a cost. After 5 hours and 4 separate waves of attacks, Perilla's forces were reduced to a third of their original size. By then, only Perilla and 6 guards remained to fend off the next dress assault, and the wizard required a few more minutes to complete the ritual and open the portal. "You shall have that time," Perilla proclaimed, "for Hlalu." The 7 defenders, magnificent in their fury, fought with honor and savage resolve as the wizard completed the final steps of the ritual. 1 guard fell, 2, 4. Now only Perilla and 2 Hlalu guards remained at the battlements. The Hlalu workers, who had been providing support and watchful eyes throughout the previous battles, took to the walls as well, using tools and the weapons of the fallen guards to help defend the post. For all their effort, it appeared that the crushing weight of the dress assault was about to engulf them. And then the portal opened. House Hlalu battle merchants streamed through the portal, hurling spells and arrows into the ranks of the surprised mercenaries. A full cohort emerged from the portal and crashed against the wall of dressed mercenaries. The wall held for a few long moments, and then it shattered against the weight of the Hlalu troops. Dressed mercenaries fell in scores before their line finally broke, and the remaining mercenaries turned to flee. The battle merchants chased after them just long enough to make sure that they were really routed, and then formed up to secure the post. Brave and noble Perilla Fallon was responsible for the Hlalu victory that day, but she didn't survive the final battle. A dressed mercenary's blade had caught her in the neck as they were retreating. She was dead before a healer could reach her side. Thanks to histories like these, however, her efforts will never be forgotten. I hope you've been enjoying these lore readings, and if you have, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Also, come follow me over on twitch.tv/ICYIC, where I stream the Elder Scrolls Online 4 days a week. I'd love to see you there. Thanks for watching.